It's been way too long since I did a video. So I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to be another keep it real kind of video. So, this is good advice for anybody that's struggling with anything, with a plateau, struggling with, a fitness journey, fitness goal, struggling with a career goal. And because a lot of this, especially this particular subject that I'm talking about, you can use with everything. And then any competitors out there. So, you know, there's a couple things. Number one, I'm like super off season right now. So I'm not at maintenance. I'm trying to put on weight. But I'm not prepping for a show. I mean, my goal has always been to try to get my legs bigger so I can have more symmetry. A lot of the times with competitors, it's about off season. Business people, it is about, you know, what you're going to do to take your business to the next level. And sometimes things don't always work out. Like I made the video about how I did not win. And I am so glad that I didn't win because of what is going to be next for me. Because, you know, and I keep trying to decide whether I want to kind of explain what's going to happen next year. But I might. I actually really feel like I want to tell a couple people that are close to me before I make a video about it. And I just haven't done that yet. So, okay, so number one, there's a positive in everything. And then everything is a learning tool and an opportunity to grow and be better. So let's just say you have this whole idea about this business. Let's just say if you're an inventor and you come up with something and then you get turned down. Let's say you're a competitor and you work so hard, the hardest you've ever worked, but you don't place as well as you would like. You just got to keep trucking. You got to find out where you can tweak things that you did wrong before, that maybe you do have room for improvement. And then the biggest thing is going to be always keeping your eye on the prize, no matter how far away it is. And I've done a video on this before, but it's about mini goals. Oh my God, is it about mini goals? So I'm going to keep it real with you guys. Shortly after the show, I'm like off season. So what you have to do is when you've been dieting for as long as you've been dieting, and I actually was, you know, I did the one show and then I had another 10 weeks before I went to nationals. So 12 weeks and then another 10 weeks after that. So I was dieting for a while. So, I mean, no matter what, whether it was 2 shows or 1 show, you got to reverse diet. You can't just go right back to bulking. So reverse dieting, but I have to be honest. I kind of struggled with it. So not struggled, I mean, yes, struggled, but struggled with not justifying. You know, and I again, I think that this can go for anybody, career-wise and fitness goals, and we all have a tendency to try to justify things. I worked so, I mean, this is like a big false thing that a lot of people that either have never worked with a professional before, never hired a personal trainer, and they literally eat good during the week, and then they say on Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to do what I want because I deserve it because I work so hard during the week. And they're just literally doing the same thing over and over again. They're gaining weight and then losing the same amount of weight during the week. Because you can't do like 2 days off and binge eating for 2 days straight, and that's what people tend to do. And then they say diets don't work. Well, no, not the way you're doing it. But again, it's like we all justify different things, or we justify or try to justify things to make it easier on ourselves. So it's going to be really hard to focus on this goal in next July. But I have these little mini things. I actually just booked a trip back to New York. I'm super excited about it. It's already booked. I already told my coach because I'm super excited. I'm going to actually get to meet him and train with him twice. My God, I'm getting butterflies. I'm so excited. I can't wait. And that's coming up in a couple months, few months, not a couple, in a few months. So I'm really excited about that. So that's something that's not as far as July, and it's a little closer, but it's still far enough away where, you know, every 2 weeks I check in with him. 2 weeks is a lot. Like, I can do a lot. I can make my mistakes, and then I can try to clean them up. But I have to have even more mini goals. And then again, you have to be okay with the journey and with the little setbacks. So a good friend of mine, Nikki, that I became friends with on YouTube, she found me. Now we have each other's cell phone number and we text each other all the time. And she's actually the one that came up with the idea for this video. And she recently told me about Juliana, and I do not know how to say her last name, but she is Miss Physique Olympia for years. And this woman's in her 40s, which that I just found out from Nikki, which totally inspires me because, you know, the Miss Olympia, I think Sydney Hill is her name, or Sydney something. Candace Lewis, who I truly believe is Miss Olympia. She's my Miss Olympia. And then Latoya Watts, who was Miss Olympia 2 times. Like, all those girls are young, I feel like. I don't know how old Latoya is, but I do know that the one that just won, Sydney, she's 25 years old. I do know that Candace is young, like not in her 40s young. But when I found out that Juliana and what her body looks like is insane, and she's in her 40s, that like totally fired me up. Not like I ever thought I couldn't get my body to do insane things. I just have to be patient through the process. But I found out from my friend Nikki that, you know, she was denied and never ever placed in figure, and then decided to just keep trucking, and then changed to physique, and then now she's 4-time Miss Olympia physique with the sickest symmetry, and I mean, and she's got a really great work ethic and a great outlook, and her Instagram is like she's always doing food in her stories and sharing things with people and all that other stuff. So like she's a good, humble person. But again, like 4-time Miss Olympia, if she would have given up many years ago, it's just about tweaking things and maybe changing the game. Not necessarily changing the, like, she went from figure to physique. So let's just say if this is a career thing, it's not about like changing the career, but maybe it's about changing something. Or if you are an inventor and you try, and this particular thing is not going to work, then maybe you try something else. But if your heart is set on something and you're passionate about something, I always talk about the why. So you got to have that why in the back of your mind. There's a little meme and it talks about Steve Jobs, how many times he failed, Michael Jordan, how many times he failed, Oprah Winfrey, how many times she failed, and now these are all unbelievably successful people. So you have to focus. And then I am huge on coping skills. So you also have to identify. So what really changed the game for me is when I identified with what I was doing and I put it out there. I told my coach, I have to be honest with you. I sent him my 2-week check-in. I have to be honest with you. These past 2 weeks, I've justified a few too many high-carb meals because I'm bulking. But meanwhile, I don't want to get fluffy. I don't want to, that's not what I'm trying to bulk. I'm trying to build muscle, which is all about the proper training and 100% nutrition. But it's not about eating garbage. So I'm following the guidelines of what he's telling me. There are certain days that I get higher carbs, but I can't go higher than that. Because again, I want to do this the right way. I want to see what am I capable of. So I had to admit it, and he thanked me for admitting it, being honest with him, and being honest with myself. And now I have coping skills. So now on the days that I that I am given higher carbs, I have a coping skill around it. And this is what I also teach my clients about approved, let's say, refeed or a cheat. You have to strategically plan that. Yeah. And you have to have a game plan. So like one of my days is on a Wednesday night. So I could do it after session and then I'm home and I can, you know, lose control. Or I can do it right before session because then I got to go into session and I can't overeat because then I have to start training people. So that's one of my coping skills. Then what I do is I teach clients about cheats and stuff like that. If you're going to have a cheat, do it outside of your house. Have it where you're home. Have it where, where you're out, where you're about to go do something. So let's just say if it's going to be this and then you're going to go run errands, or if it's going to be, you know, even the movies, which you just want to be careful with that. Let's just say if you have it out at a yogurt shop and then you go to the movies, but you don't buy any candy and popcorn because you're not going to try to triple dip it. So, I mean, That's the best advice I could possibly give, and this comes from experience, and I'll take you back real quick, and then I'll kind of shut this one down. But if I take it all the way back to when I had a nervous breakdown at the age of 23 years old, and I checked myself into a psych ward, and we're talking about somebody who was super sick. At that time, I was heavier. I was bulimic. I was literally just binging and purging every single day. And you can only purge so much, so a lot of that food, the bad food, you're eating an obnoxious amount of calories, and you don't purge it all. So I was heavier, I was unhappy with myself, my stomach would stick out, and boom, so this just vicious cycle, and it was all because I was unhappy with my life. And it's all because I was living my life to please other people, one of them being my dad, which I have come to the conclusion, you can never please everyone. I can never please him. And that's okay. So I realized what I was doing. I went and I got help. Granted, I hit absolute rock bottom. I'm glad I hit rock bottom. I feel like clients that come to me with the worst stories are the ones that are gonna see the most success because they got themselves out of that. Granted, I've seen other people that haven't come from a really traumatic thing, but they've seen incredible success stories, and they have a really good work ethic because they come from a background of people that work hard. But whatever. So what I did was I was in the hospital for 7 days. Then I did intensive outpatient therapy, and then it slowly dwindled down. But when I got out of the hospital, I had a plan for everything. I had 3 jobs at one time, 4 jobs. Granted, I mean, 2 of them were throughout the week, and then 1 was quarterly, and then 1 was twice a year. Doing all different types of things, but I would work 7 days a week. I would avoid holidays, and my family was very supportive for the first couple years because I couldn't be around that. But I planned all of my meals around, so when I first got out of the hospital, the first thing that I do was I finished my certification because I had started it before I got sick. And I finished it, and then I started working at the front desk at New York Sports Club, and then I started training clients. As soon as I got my certification, boom, I want to be out on the floor. And I will never forget this. I started working there in November. I finished my certification. I was on the gym floor in April. So not even from the beginning of the year. And I finished out that year as one of the top 20 trainers out of the whole United States. Because there's Washington Sports Club, there's New York Sports Club, there's New Jersey Sports Club, and out of like 4,000 trainers, I finished 20. And I didn't even have a full year under my belt because I was so determined. I had this crazy work ethic, and a lot of it, I truly believe, is because I just came out of the hospital, because I just came out of being sick. And one of my coping skills was, as soon as I was done eating, I would go do something. I would either go study, I would go into session with a client. I would strategically plan my meals around times where I can't think about what I just ate and I can't go back for more. I would eat in my driveway when I got home. Every day I left my house with showering and with enough clothes to take a shower. I would work out during one of my breaks in between jobs. So I believe that no matter what, you can be successful. We just all of us have to have coping skills, have to have a goal, have to have coping skills, and have to have our why in the back. And I will say this, you have to believe. You have to believe that you're capable of greatness. And it could be greatness at your job. It could be greatness as a mom or a dad. It could be greatness as eventually a business owner. And it could be greatness as a fitness bodybuilding competitor in whatever category you're in. But again, it's all going to be about setting for success, coping skills, remembering your why in the back of your mind every single day. So I hope this helps somebody, because I know it has totally saved my life. And that's what I want to do. I just want to share my experience with everybody.